Hi, I'm Rachael Leigh Cook, and welcome to the Sarah O'Connell Show.
Welcome to the Sarah O'Connell Show.
Rachael Leigh Cook, welcome to the Sarah O'Connell Show. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you, Sarah O'Connell?
I'm very good. I'm so happy to have you on my show. It's amazing. I want to go back all the way to the beginning of your career and before it. I've had the most fun rewatching all of your films over the last couple of weeks. I've really loved that. I'd love to know, to start with, did you always want to get into movies, like when you were a young kid? Is that what you always aspired to do?
Well, I don't know where you grew up exactly, which we should talk about, but it wasn't really something that was on my radar when I was a lot younger. I didn't really know that it was possible. I'm not from Los Angeles. I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota, which is in the Midwest. And yeah, I don't come from a Hollywood family, but as I got a little bit older and it sort of seemed like it could be a possibility, I sort of threw myself at it, took a chance, and it worked out. And it's been work ever since then. But I just feel like I was lucky that I was early on, because I'm not sure that I would have stuck with it, if I'm honest.
Right, because your first movie is, of course, The Babysitters Club and Tom and Huck, which is available on Disney Plus. Incidentally, if anybody hasn't seen it, to start with, were you going to like tons of auditions before you got those first roles, or did you get into them kind of straight away?
No, that's where it was kind of crazy, Sarah. Like, the Babysitters Club was, talk about beginner's luck. It was my first audition ever for a
Oh,
feature
wow.
film. So yeah, I don't know how I got it per se, but it worked out. And then when you're young, momentum really gets you very far. And that got me a role from there. And I mean, I had to audition, but in a movie called Tom and Huck
Yeah,
with I love that you know this movie. That nobody
I
knows this
watched
movie.
it. It's on Disney Plus.
Jonathan. Oh, there you go, on Disney
Yeah,
Plus. My kids love Disney Plus, so yeah, we're a very Disney Plus household. Yeah, with Jonathan Taylor Thomas and the late Brad Renfro, and then I just sort of kept working from there.
and I've noticed recently that there's a new version of The Babysitters Club that's just come out on Netflix. Have you seen that yet? What are your thoughts?
I have not seen it yet because I'm dying to watch it with my daughter. I just really want us to have that sort of bonding experience, and I think she'll be ready to watch it within the next like probably 6 months. She's growing so fast, but yeah, I tried to make my daughter watch the movie that I was in, and she was not really having it. So I think I've got a little bit of time there, but I'm excited for us to sort of have that moment. Maybe my son too, for what it's worth, but he's only 5, so who knows?
Well, the great thing is, if you watch TV shows when you're young, you can kind of rewatch them in a few years' time and you understand a bit more about them, then revisit them when you're even older and you get more jokes that you didn't understand the first time.
Yeah, you're
Always
absolutely
good.
right. What were your favorite shows growing up?
Just all of them. I used to love American comedies. I used to watch things like Roseanne and
Uh,
Saved by the Bell and all that good stuff.
How was the Roseanne reboot? I never saw it.
It's good.
It
I
was
enjoy
good.
it. It's kind of got the same spirit as the original.
Oh,
And
very
yeah,
cool.
it's kind of got a huge nostalgic hook for me as well. So
That's cool. I used to
yeah,
watch Saved by the Bell too, all the time.
yeah, I think that's
Um,
coming back too.
I would love that. I hope you're right. I just did an interview with Mario Lopez the other day. I can't believe he didn't tell me. How
Oh
dare he?
wow. Yeah, so I think now Zach is the school governor or something like that, and
Yes,
I think there's a
that's going to
trailer.
be amazing.
Yeah,
Who wouldn't want to watch
exactly. So
that?
as I said, I've been watching all your films. I'd never seen Carpool before. It's got David Haymer in it, Tom Arnold. So
Whew,
much
that's
fun
a
to
deep
do,
cut, Sarah. That's a deep cut.
right?
That's a long time ago now. Oh my God. Funny enough, where I am now in Vancouver is where we filmed that movie. I remember it was like 1996, I think.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And so, did you literally film the entire film in a car? I know the end is in a carnival, but were you sat in
Oh
that car
yeah,
for weeks or months?
it felt like years. I would say because especially I was 16, and
Mm,
the big laughs and the cutest part of the movie for sure was that the the other leads of the movie were largely like 3 7-year-olds. And so yeah, when you're 16 and you're told like you're gonna be in a van with 3 7-year-olds, for a couple months, like you don't really think about it, but you never think of yourself more as an adult until your other co-stars are actual very small children. And it's so weird to me that they're literally probably walking around this city as adults right now, and I would not know them if I saw them.
Oh, that's so funny. And so were they saying, are we there yet, for like 2 months or something in the back of the car?
Yeah, and we were not there yet, Sarah. We were not there at all.
I really enjoyed it. It's a funny film, and I'd missed it.
Yeah. Hey, thank you for watching it.
Yeah, it makes researching easier if I watch the films I find.
Thank you.
Otherwise, I just have to have you describe all of your movies to me in real time and act through all of them, which could take a while.
It can really take a while, and especially like I might make movies, but I am not a born storyteller in terms of just being able to tell you a series of events. I cannot successfully execute many jokes. Like I will start at the middle, give away the ending, remember the beginning, and then just like blunder it. I'm terrible. So thank you for watching the movie so I don't have to explain the plot of part four.
Absolutely. And I find too, if I tell a joke, if people don't laugh, it wasn't a joke. I was just saying a sentence. And if they laugh, 100% successful.
That's good spin.
Mm-hmm.
I respect that.
I think so. So I'm going to move on to She's All That. At the time when you first read the script, when you first auditioned, obviously you knew the cast and all that kind of thing, but did you have any sense how big the film was going to be at that time?
Well, I didn't know who was going to be in it at all. Freddie hadn't been cast yet. He and I were cast first. And I remember thinking it was a much sort of bigger feeling movie than I had thought that it was going to be initially. I had worked on movies of some, sort of scale before, but I certainly didn't know that it was going to perform as well as it did in terms of box office. Nobody did. Not to discredit us, but nobody saw that one coming. I remember just reading the script and thinking, I think I'm right for this, but I've thought that many times and people disagree. So,
I disagree with them because you've been amazing in everything I've watched.
Oh, no, thank you. It's just hard. Like sometimes you'll read something today. Sometimes I'll read something that I'm going to audition for and I'll think, I am perfect for this. Wait till they see this. And then they're like, no, thank you. You seem nice, but no.
And so
it's okay. That's the life of an actor,
Absolutely. And so I guess people always ask what your favourite scenes were, but what are the most enjoyable to film at the time on set? Even ones maybe that don't get included in the film sometimes, but what was the most fun day for you?
I can't recall any scenes from She's All That, and this is good writing that makes that happen. I can't remember any scenes that didn't make it into the final. Oh wait, no, I can remember one scene that didn't make it into the final cut. There's a scene I had with the woman who plays the art teacher. She was very pretty. What was her name? Oh, I can't recall. She was very good, but we were sort of we had this scene where, she sort of says like, Lainey, you gotta improve your attitude or something like that. And I don't think the movie needed it because it was more about seeing her go on that journey rather than have someone talk to her about it.
Sure. And so, of course, Paul Walker sadly passed away several years ago. What was he like to work with, I guess, sort of towards the beginning of his career? Roseanne, it really took off.
Mm-hmm. Well, Paul, he always had that movie star quality from the get-go. He seemed like a highly established actor to me at the time, but I can't say I remember exactly from what at this moment. Now I can just think of everything he's done since. But he has incredible presence. Paul's he's not a chatty actor. He's not or a human. He's not a person who talks about himself. He's kind of just quiet and very tall and handsome and just total rock star, movie star, surfer guy. Like, who wouldn't be impressed,
It's one of those interesting things where sometimes you'll watch a film that you loved in the 80s or the 90s or something, and then it's a kind of stupid sentence, but someone hasn't become who they are yet, and then you'll watch the film and you're like, oh my God, it's got all these people in it, like when they were teenagers or whatever. And
totally, yeah, like Dulé Hill has a part that's, not highlighted, nearly enough, and She's All That in terms of like what he can do as an actor. And now he's headlined, many shows and movies and has done a million things. But they at the time, I don't know if they knew how lucky they were that, that he took the role.
Yeah, absolutely. And what do you imagine Lainey Boggs is doing now in 2020?
Um, you know, Sarah, this is where I'm not a writer and somebody else should have that job. I don't really know. I think that there are a lot of first part of the movie, Lainey's walking around and they're making a difference for social justice and probably, you know, protesting and advocating for stuff of or for climate change reform, and yeah, probably doing a lot of good for the world, probably more than I am.
You entertain people and you raise awareness for important stuff and make the world happier and kinder and better and just more fun to be in, I think so.
That is very kind of you to say. I feel
It's
like we're
very kind of you to do.
no, thank you. Like I raise my kids. I try to be a good person generally, but other than that, I don't know. I'm trying, Sarah. What can I say?
You know, I've just spent like a fortnight watching your movies and I'm in a good pace at the moment. I'm quite
I'm
happy.
so sorry. I could have told you which ones not to watch.
No. I love watching films. I interview people as an excuse to basically just watch films for a fortnight and say that I'm working,
Perfect.
right?
Okay.
So next I want to move on to, I think, the year 2000, the remake of Get Carter. You worked with Sylvester Stallone. It's an action film, but there's some really moving scenes in that. There's, you know, scenes where he's crying and you're up on the roof and stuff like that. What was he like to work with?
He's an incredible force and a human. You just know when he's around, and not because, you know, like set would be ready as soon as he stepped on, but just as a person. And he's aware of the power that he has, and he's just very naturally confident and charismatic and smart and very funny. I was very surprised at how funny he was. But yeah, I feel like I do need to apologize to everyone in the UK that we remade that movie. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We remade Get Carter. It was a great experience and a good script. And I loved our director Steven. That's why I did it. Some people were not excited that we remade that movie. So
Some people are just never excited. I enjoyed the film. I watched it when it first came out. I've watched it this week. Yeah, so people should check it out.
It was, you know, it was a good experience. And if it, you know, it's funny to me, like I will, and you know, the Babysitters Club has been remade. They're doing a new version of She's All That, which I think is going to be very cool, called He's All That. And so the fact that I was part of the remake of Get Carter, you know what? It's just the natural progression of things. And hell, that's probably fine, right?
Exactly. So
Yeah.
I've waited long enough. I have to talk to you about not only one of my favourite films of yours, but just one of my favourite films. And I genuinely mean this. Josie and the Pussycats, I've loved
Yes,
since the first time I saw
yes.
it.
I'm so here for that answer. I always say smart people like that movie. So
Right?
thank you for getting it.
I love every song. I love every line of dialogue in that film. Just everything is perfect about it. It just still amuses and entertains me, and it's just the most fun to watch. I have it twice. I lived in America for a while, and so like, I have this is my American version. And then over there, I have the English version because I couldn't play it. And I needed to keep watching it.
I appreciate that so much. I remember reading that script and thinking, this is hilarious. I can't believe they gave me this part. Like, I just feel so lucky right now, you know?
How did you first get involved with it? Do you sort of just apply for things, or do agents get sent scripts? How did that work?
I was on the directors, our directors, Deborah Kaplan and Harry Elfont. They also wrote the script. They made a movie called Can't Hardly Wait that I bet you've seen. If you're a film buff, as I can tell you are. So I had met on that movie, but Love Hewitt had already been cast. So like I was just sort of like a backup meeting if her deal didn't work out or something. I was never going to get that. But they remembered meeting me on that movie. And then I got offered Josie a couple years later. And, you know, that was an easy yes for me. And yeah, I still can't believe I got that part, to be honest with you. I'm not a singer, so that was lucky.
And they sent you to band camp, is that right? To learn to play the guitar and stuff like that?
Yeah, that was wild. Again, could have found someone who could play guitar and sing. I'm pretty sure that's a thing. But luckily, you know, I don't know. Luckily, I'm the one who showed up for the audition that day back in, you know, 1998. Oh, sorry.
So the end scene, there's loads of people in the audience. I heard a rumor that they said they were giving a car away.
Yes, I hope that that's true. I never saw the car.
Right.
So Yeah, they just really needed people to stay. It was a long day of filming, and that's a long time to ask people to stand around and watch you lip sync and be enthusiastic. It was many hours. It was a very long day.
I can relate to that. I've tried to get people to watch me lip sync for several hours and they won't do it. They just walk off.
Sign me up for at least 45 minutes. I would.
So straight after this, I'm just going to go straight into it then. It's going to be incredible.
Yeah. After 45 minutes, I might need a free car. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, it'll be in England, but it'll be there whenever you want it.
Do I have to drive it on the other side of, you know what, we'll worry about it later.
Drive in the middle. Drive in the middle.
I'll tell them you said it was okay.
It's probably fine.
It's probably fine.
Have you got a favourite song from the movie? Do you still ever listen to the music at all? Was there one that was the most fun to perform for you?
It's kind of like when we were shooting Carpool, which I can reference because you have seen and most people haven't, but we were listening to I Want to Be Sedated for like 2 days. I thought I never need to hear this song again. No offense, Ramones, but I was just like, oh my God, I've heard this song so much. And it was a little bit the same with the songs from Josie, if I'm honest. Like,
yeah.
I heard them so much, so often, so intensively that it took me a couple years to really say, I'm ready to listen to that soundtrack again. It really just brings you right back to that time in a good way. But yeah, I was topped up on those for a while. But now I'd say my favorite song in retrospect or otherwise is probably Three Small Words, I think. It's just so big and anthemic and like satisfying, and yeah, I love it.
It's kind of difficult for me because every time I listen to one of the songs, I listen to all of the songs. So I don't think I've ever just listened to like one in isolation. So I you know, if it starts playing, I'm going to listen to the whole thing, Du Jour and Three Small Words.
I love the Du Jour songs. I still can't believe we got away with that.
So the whole movie is just amazing. If you haven't seen it, you need to. I remember when I came out of the movie theatre, I genuinely, like, to me, it was a 5-star film. I loved it. Then I started thinking about the plot and the subliminal messaging. I thought, did I love the film? Did they just trick me into loving the film? I still love the film. I also want to go and buy 50 things I wasn't expecting to, and I love the film.
Thank you so much, Sarah.
And so you had a cast reunion 3 years ago when the record was released, and you all got together on a stage and stuff like that. I've seen clips online. It was a lot of fun, and there was live musical performances. Would you ever, if the stars aligned and the budget aligned and stuff like that, would you ever consider returning for a sequel, or maybe even just doing a cast read of the original or something like that?
I think that's sort of the purpose that the film seeks to serve, is that it lives on by nature of the medium. I don't think anyone would see me read it now. I feel like that'd be a touch sad. I don't know.
I would watch it.
I like French. You would watch. Okay.
Yeah.
If you would appreciate this, then maybe there's others like you. But yeah, I don't know. Like the Riverdale world, as it relates to Josie and the Pussycats, lives on in the show Riverdale. Yeah, I think it's just Riverdale comics. Like that whole world, you know, I think deserves a lot more retellings and reimaginings. I don't necessarily need to be part of them. I feel lucky to have been part of this chapter. I certainly don't feel proprietary over the role.
Do you ever get to, or do you ever want to keep any souvenirs or props from that film or any others? Do you have any stuff in your house that's a costume or?
Yeah, I did keep. Strangely enough, I had to put in my contract from Josie that I could keep my wardrobe. That got put in my deal before I made the movie or saw any of the costumes. So like, I don't know where I thought I could be going in any of those outfits and not just like grabbed with a butterfly net on the street. I don't think that was probably the wisest thing to build, but yeah, I kept a lot of them for a long time. But they were so like, you know, tiny and flimsy and fragile that a lot of them basically broke in half when I opened the box a couple years ago. So I can't say I have a lot of those still.
Yeah.
I have a lot of the suits that they custom made, and some of I definitely have the ears. I have the ears. So
that's the main thing. That's what you need to have.
The tails were problematic. We were all pretty like not great at walking on big, tall, high heels, and so constantly having to carry our tails around so we didn't trip over them. for each other. Yeah, that took a minute.
Now, next I'm going to jump to 2003, the movie Scorched. I have a very specific question. There's a dream sequence where you're kind of dressed like a warrior and you're throwing fireballs and you're doing backflips and all that kind of thing. Did you actually do the backflips, or was it like a stunt double that did
Definitely a stunt double. And you can tell the second that she flips and lands on the table, because the shot that they chose to use, they frame up for her entrance to the table like on her thighs, which are like so ripped and in shape. And I was just like, no one's gonna think that's me. Like, no one's gonna believe it. Yeah, it was the amazing stunt woman who did that. Yeah, that was a lot of fun to pretend to do. I did get to sort of fly around on the wires, but there was no flipping involved.
Yeah, yeah. And so you also starred in a couple of Your Brain on Drugs adverts, which were really powerful. But my question to you is this: do people ever get nervous if they see you around eggs?
Well, they should.
Yeah.
They just, I'm looking around your house for eggs right now. Well, they're worried about you. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, there was, I didn't, that's another situation where you don't know the coverage and exposure you're going to get from something until well after it's out.
Yeah.
I thought I was just making a small public service announcement that would be on a couple times that was just basically like, don't do heroin. And that seemed like a pretty non-controversial statement. But then when it ended up being, you know, sort of synonymous with the whole war on drugs, which was a total disaster, you know, it sort of took on a different connotation.
In 2009, you starred in The Lodger, which is it's based on a 1913 book about Jack the Ripper, and you kind of guess who the killer is throughout the movie at the end of it. Now, this will ruin it for people that haven't seen it yet. I apologize. I must ask. The person you think is the murderer, the lodger, turns out to be a figment of one of the characters' imaginations. They then get arrested, goes to jail, etc. The final shot of that movie is the lodger turned up at someone else's house. So it's kind of an ambiguous ending. I was wondering if it was ever explained to the cast or if it was purposely left as a sort of big question mark at the end about what it means.
Honestly, I could not have told you what the ending of that movie was. And it's probably, I bet people watching think that actors have even seen most of the movies that we're in, and not to, I don't want to sound disrespectful, amazing actors in that movie. I think Simon Baker, Alfred Molina, funny enough, a friend, an ex-boyfriend of mine, Shane West, is in that movie. I have never seen it. Whoops. I just wanted to do a scene with Alfred Molina, and can you blame me, Sarah? No.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
Now, you were in the hit TV show Perception, which ran for 3 seasons, and I want to say 39 episodes.
Yes.
It's a lot of fun, and I recommend people look it up if they haven't seen it already. But in the first episode, you kind of jump off a fire escape and fall 2 stories. Did you actually do that?
I did. It was almost a disaster. It was not a very high jump. It was from the second story of a building, but it was not a roof. It was even just a fire escape. And they made like a gigantic sort of airbag that I could just sort of jump onto that was roughly 12 feet high. It was not a huge jump I was going to have to do. I'm in a harness. And I realized that I am too scared to even do that jump. So it took me about probably 15 minutes to psych myself up to even do that. I'm just a little bit risk averse. And so I finally jump off of the building, but I'm so afraid that you can see me if you watch the footage, which is obviously not in the show, like pass out in midair and go limp and like wake up as I like get back. It is so pathetic. Like whatever the opposite of Tom Cruise doing his own stunts is like right here. I'm terrible.
Well, I can relate to that because I saw the scene and like I was almost passing out just watching it. So
yeah, what I can't do employs a lot of people. Let's put it that way.
Obviously, you've been in tons of different kinds of movies set in different locations, Paris and all over the world. Out of all the fictional jobs that you've had, have you ever had one where you thought, if I wasn't acting, I could do this? This is something like could be a second career.
Interesting. Well, except for my career as a babysitter in the Babysitters Club, I don't know. I want to say I played someone who was a part of a jewel heist at one point in the movie. That would have been a pretty cool job, just be a jewel thief, you know, as you do. I can't think of anything, Sarah. I will honestly think of it probably as soon as we stop speaking. I'll go, oh, it was that. But right now, not so
So
good.
you can tell me after the 45-minute lip sync, it'll be fine. So, so you starred in the Autumn, Summer, and Valentine in the Vineyard trilogy. Will you ever consider doing a fourth movie for Hallmark? Because I believe it's based on 5 books, right?
Yes, we don't follow the narrative of those books per se, so we would be winging it even further. Although Marina Adair, who wrote them, you know, could probably come up with 5 books by tomorrow morning if you asked her. She's so prolific. But I don't know, Hallmark tends to close things out at the wedding because after that it's like, you know, like, oh shoot, like we got 2 blenders, like, and oh, when should we have kids? And like, you know, very sort of like, I don't know, pedestrian, not pedestrian, but very like real lifey things that aren't as sweeping and romantic as getting engaged in a vineyard somewhere. So I think that we've closed that out, but it was an amazing experience that I will never forget.
So your new movie, Love Guaranteed, is on Netflix right now. I watched it the day it came out. And I love it when a movie lives up to its title and it guarantees you're going to love it, and I did. For the uninitiated, what is the movie about?
Okay, I'm never good at this question, but it's about, okay, I'll do my best. The movie is about a man who's kind of world weary and definitely kind of jaded about love and finding love, having been burned. And he decides that in order to sort of, the wording in the movie is, he says it's reckless endangerment of the human heart for a website, a dating website, to guarantee love to any of its subscribers. He says that's false advertising. I should sue them. I'm going to go on all of the required dates that you say I need to go on. Love Guaranteed is the dating website. And so he says, I'm going to go on all of these dates, and then I'm going to sue this company for false advertising because it's bogus. You can't guarantee love to anyone. This is fraud. And so he hires me. I am his attorney. And I sort of grudgingly, because I believe him to be an opportunist, agreed to represent him in this large-scale lawsuit against a major company. And we kind of find that we like each other. So complications very much ensue.
It's a great film, and you've got such incredible chemistry with Damon Wayans Jr. as well. Is it true that you filmed the film almost in sequential order? So the scene where you first meet is the first scene you shot?
After that, it was not sequential. That would have been a dream, believe me. But yeah, we did film the first scene first, and that's a gift in itself because Damon and I were still very much getting to know each other. But in a way, it would have been better if we had maybe done some other scenes first because I could have maybe had a better handle on how incredibly likable Damon was going to come across. Because I really feel like in those first scenes, I'm way too kind of rude to him because when you read the script, the guy reads as kind of a cad, you know? But when you see Damon, like, he's just so likable. I was like, oh my God, I totally seem like just a rude business lady who's not just like giving him a chance because he's so endearing. So you don't always have to shoot things in sequence. But yeah, that's the only thing I would do different.
So I really do recommend everybody watches this movie. I've seen it twice now, and it's it's great. And the courtroom scenes, you're spectacular in them.
I so appreciate that. I really was just like, please let people believe I'm a real lawyer. Let me do my serious voice, say all the law stuff. So I hope that it worked. Yeah, please tell all your neighbors over there to watch it. It's on Netflix now and forever. So yeah, hopefully people can enjoy it for a long time to come.
And tell me a fun fact about you, something people may not know. It can be a party trick, a hobby, something you do in your spare time.
Party trick? Okay, what's yours? Help me think of like what kind of...
I can wiggle my ears, which isn't that exciting. I can do that.
I can do that. Can you wiggle your nose? Yes. Here we go. Yep. This is good. This is good TV right here.
Yeah.
We're really doing it.
So I can do that. I can touch my nose with my tongue.
This is good stuff.
No one needs to see that though.
I think you're wrong. I'm pretty sure that there are a lot of websites that would love to see that.
Yeah, speciality websites. That's a whole different thing. That's what I'm filming this evening, just 3 hours of that. It's going to be a gritty turn of the century drama.
Mm-hmm.
Going to be
I like this. I like this journey for you very much.
right.
Oh my
Got
God.
my whole career mapped out from this. Tell me what you're working on next. Did I read that you're in Canada at the moment?
Right now, yes, I'm about to make a Christmas movie that I helped put together, and I'm executive producing and starring in our country Christmas. Not to do with skiing. It's about a road trip. It's two people trying to get home after a snowstorm hits the country really hard back to the town where they're from. And it's a lot of fun. It's sort of like a planes, trains, and automobiles Christmas movie.
Love that movie.
Yeah, same, big time. Not to like themselves to, not to, no one wants to be compared to that movie. It's too good, but in feel. And on that note, I have to go start learning my lines, so I gotta run. But I want to say thank you so much for your time, Sarah. I loved your reel. I was like, she is so fun. I want to talk to her. So I'm a fan, and thank you so much for your time for real.
Thank you so much. I've loved talking to you and celebrating your amazing movies. My final question to you has to be though, have you got a message for people watching the Sarah O'Connell Show and your fans around the world?
I wasn't ready for that. Can I just say thanks? Is that boring?
That works.
No, for real. Thank you to everyone watching the movie. Tell your friends about Love Guaranteed. Like Sarah said, Sarah liked it and you have great taste. So like clearly people should watch it, right?
Exactly. And so best of luck with your current filming, and thank you for a lifetime of entertainment, and I look forward to everything you're working on in the future when you're writing and producing and starring in all these amazing movies. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Sarah. I really appreciate it. Congrats on the show, and just congratulations on being awesome. It's going really good for you, I can tell.
Thank you, I really appreciate that, and thank you to everybody watching at home. Be sure to share, subscribe, give this video a big thumbs up, and leave lots of lovely comments, and I'll see you all again soon for another episode of the Sarah O'Connell Show. Bye.
Thanks, bye.